Hey, itty bitty. How's my baby? Well, hello, Elena. I've unmuted you. Can you open up your mic? Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. And where are you listening in from?
From Gainesville, Florida.
From Florida. Are you a principal, teacher, PE teacher?
I'm a PE teacher.
You are. Well, it's great to have you. It's great to have you. Thank you. And I am excited to share. You are my attendee today, and I'm so excited. So it's one-on-one. I'm here to answer questions. And how long have you been teaching PE?
I have been teaching PE. This is my 4th year.
Your 4th year. And what are the grade levels that you're teaching?
Kindergarten through 6th grade.
Okay, awesome. Well, I am absolutely showing what this program does have, as well as giving some suggestions. And I am here to answer any questions because I like brainstorming. I go around the country and I present at the national conference. I've been to your state conference doing different presentations. So this is me to say hello. Well, just in general, today's webinar is the why, what, and how research, and it's very interesting. If by grade 6 they decide what they are good at, if not, they're not going to be active. So the other research I discovered was if children do not have a positive experience with physical activity, whether it is recess or physical education or sports, if it's a negative experience, they're less likely to be active adults. It's very interesting. So this program that I'm going to highlight, it is talking about developing the skills and knowledge, which I know that you're very familiar with. Do you have a particular curriculum?
I kind of put it together myself based on our state standards and then other mentors online.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what I have done for my 25 plus years. But I am excited to share this program with you because to me in my teaching, I think this is what's very not only user friendly, but it's a great way to communicate with parents. There's a great component in that. I don't know if you've seen this video, but this video I have actually shown to parents on my parent PE day. So I'm just going to go ahead and share this with you. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a great way of promoting our program. Physical education.
Okay.
Here we have 2 kids, a boy named Sanjay and a girl named April. Sanjay and April are kids just like you, although they are cartoons. I guess they're not exactly just like you, now are they? Maybe I'll give them jetpacks. Why not? You know what? Maybe jetpacks are a bad idea. My bad. Now, we really want Sanjay and April to be happy kids. For that to happen, we want them to have fun being active and to learn to make healthy choices. But to do this, there are skills they have to learn first. Yeah, skills. Watch this. Sanjay, let's have you run a race. We'll draw a track here and give you a really tough opponent to run against. How about a cheetah? They're pretty fast. And let's put April on a baseball diamond. She can be playing against someone tough too. How about a team of elephants who use their trunks to hit the ball? Now, in order for Sanjay and April to get better at their activities, they have to learn some basic skills first. Think about it. If Sanjay hasn't learned how to run properly, he won't be able to run a race very well. And April won't really be ready to play baseball until she learns to catch. To be active and to have fun playing lots of games and sports, there are a lot of basic skills you should learn. Things like how to dodge, skip, jump, kick, overhand throw, catch, and run. If you learn skills like these, you'll end up using them in sports and physical activities, and you'll be confident playing them. This is called being physically literate. If you become physically literate and learn these basic skills, then you'll be able to try more activities, and activities are fun. If you can run, you can take part in soccer, basketball, or hiking. If you can throw, you can play baseball, cricket, or wheelchair bocce. If you can balance, you can do yoga, gymnastics, or even shark riding. Okay, you got me. I made shark riding up. But imagine. Now, not only do we want Sanjay and April to be active, we also want them to learn to make healthy choices. There are skills you have to learn for that too. But instead of running and catching, these are thinking and doing skills. Things like saying kind words, listening to each other, and knowing what you're feeling. Learning these help you make healthy decisions, like eating well, wearing your bike helmet, and making smart life choices. This is called health literacy. If you learn the skills of health literacy, you might choose to do fun activities like read a book, go outside and be active, or draw instead of only playing video games. And you may choose to eat more fruits and vegetables instead of mostly candy. I know, Mr. Cheetah, but being healthy is just as important for cheetahs as it is for kids. So if Sanjay and April can learn health literacy and physical literacy, they'll really be on the right track. Then Sanjay and April will feel good about participating in those activities. And they'll want to try more activities because they know they have the skills to be good at it. They'll also have the skills to make choices for their health and well-being. And in the end, they'll be active, happier, and healthier. Even if you take away their jetpacks. Sorry, guys.
Have you seen that video before?
No,
Okay, so what I did, I just found it on YouTube, pulling up physical literacy. They do have one that this is for the elementary, but they also have one for like secondary as well. And they mentioned smoking in that other one. But the reason I like sharing that, and I play it when I did the parent to PE day to have an opportunity to sort of introduce to parents that physical education is not sports. and then then like addressing the skill development. So just giving a recommendation, that's why I use that video. And I know that I'm speaking to the choir because you are a PE teacher, but a lot of times admin or classroom teachers aren't aware of that. So that's why I throw that in there. So this program was created by a PE teacher. She eventually became a principal, Melinda Bossemeyer. She also has been very active in our world of physical education, not only statewide here in California, but also nationally. And it focuses on that skill development. Now, Elena, do you actually teach outside?
yes. Last year it was almost exclusively outside, but this year we do have a gym that we can use inside.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's exciting because I'm in the same world as you. Okay. California, we teach outside. That's one reason I really, really like this program, and you'll see why. Okay. So here I am. I am actually a general as well as an adapted PE teacher. I have worked in all of these environments, public and private. I currently am teaching virtually adapted physical education. I've also been an itinerant teacher. And yes, I don't know, what are your class sizes? What are you working with?
My smallest class is 10 students, and then my largest is 22.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Are you happen to be at a private school?
Right. We're at a private Christian school.
Okay, okay. Because in general, the private schools are a little bit smaller because, yes, I've taught classes of 180.
Wow.
And what they're doing here in many school districts here in California, I've been teaching for over 25 years. They do this grade level PE because they want to give a prep period to teachers. So they throw all the kids in all one great big group and say, go for it. It's crazy. So you have normal class sizes, which is awesome. So today I'm going to show you what this program includes, and then I am going to give some recommendations, but please ask me questions because I love helping and giving ideas because that's what I do. Do you have any like off the bat right now that you would like me to address? What do you have any particular issues that are you having right now?
Well, I know we've started to include more education about emotions and how to manage emotions. because a lot of the kids will have, conflicts with others and not know how to resolve those. So even Friday this week, we're going to go over the zones of regulation for a social emotional learning tool, and then give them movement tools to help manage their emotions. But I don't see like a crossover necessarily between their regular classroom and PE. So it's trying to help. I'm trying to connect with the teachers better.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in this program, what I love it is it's broken down into 10 groups, and one of them is absolutely focusing on that social skill development. And so it's not just moving, but it's also the interacting with others. And the other thing that I'm just going to share with you, because I just recently have been selected as one of the national trainers for the brand new physical education standards for the country, Shape America. Are you
Okay.
familiar with Shape
Yes.
America? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Brand new PE standards, and I love them. And just to give an overview, which is only going to take a second here, that I'm going to tell you that there's 4 overarching standards. The first one is the motor skills, and that's what we're very familiar with. The second standard is applied the knowledge related to movement and fitness. The third, and this is huge, Elena, the third is developing social skills through movement. So
Yes.
literally it's we're using our activities as a vehicle, but the standards are specifically as in encouraging one another, giving what are opportunities to give a high five and being supportive. It's like those are the standards, is communication. So yes, we're doing activities, but the focus is hearing positive communication to one another. So that's what 3 is. And number 4 is developing your personal skills, identifying those personal benefits of movement, and chooses to engage in physical activity. So that's the new scope of physical education. So I love it because 100% it is diving into social emotional learning and interacting with others. So it's awesome. It's awesome with that. So I would definitely tap into looking at those national standards now, which I know you have Florida standards. We have California, of course, and I always say we have this overarching standard 5, which is the social emotional component. But absolutely look at activities that when you do activities, yes, you're doing the activity, but you bring back the kids of there's a fun little game I'm going to share with you. It's called Help Me Out Tag that my friend from Connecticut has done. And you have a couple taggers. And so I'm going to try to make this visual or to describe it. You've got your class, okay? And you have all the kids standing on polydots, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can start off with just one tagger and one person running. Okay. Got that?
Yes.
Okay. So they're doing that. And this game is called Help Me Out Tag, which means at any time the tagger can give their noodle, or I just use bean bags because I don't use noodles, but just bean bags to a new person. That's the new tagger. And then the taggee, if they need help, they just go give their bean bag to someone else. And now it instantly switches. So the concept is helping out. You're tired of running or whatever it may be. You need a help from a friend to jump in for you. So you start off with one tagger, but then you can add more taggers. So more kids are moving. But the concept is that it's okay to ask for help. And that's actually your lesson.
Okay.
Isn't that sort of cool?
Yeah. Do they have different colored bean bags?
Yeah, like I would use like green for the tagger and yellow for the taggee. So everyone knows like, well, I got yellow, so that means I'm being chased. green, I'm being the tagger, or whatever you want to do. So they know which they are, if they're being they're the tagger or the taggee.
Okay,
Okay, just a
great.
fun little idea there. Okay, so this particular program, it has a teacher's guide, task cards, physical activity cards, parent letters. There's a workshop CD, stencils, and the site license. So what, like, I absolutely know, totally live your life. You're creating from all the different resources that are out there, and that is awesome. So, but in this particular program, they do have a teacher's guide. And honestly, being a PE teacher, I would just use it as your foundation and add everything. But what is great about it is it focuses, like, it's a concept of each month you're going to focus on, I'm going to work on balance or whatever, the, like, this is balance, and here's our objectives, what equipment we need, and instructional tips, which I know, being a PE teacher, you got that down, but it's really nice that it's all like on one page. It's like giving you that function. The other is that they give you a lot of ideas. And frankly, this is how I teach. I actually don't teach in games. In my 25 years, I don't do games. I mean, I know I just gave you a tag game there. I would use that as a warm up and getting kids moving. But I focus on skills. That's why I gravitate to this program. And I teach in stations. And so at each station, they're working on these various activities, developing those skills rather than having a game of winning and losing. So ultimately, our lesson today is balance, and we're working on these different challenges. So that's why I love it, because it's on my it's on my level of this is my focus. The other is, I don't know whether you assess, and like, again, this is the other thing, every school, and doing what I do, every school is different. Sometimes when it comes to grading, it's either a check or a plus. Sometimes they are giving letter grids, or they are given rubrics like 1, 2, 3, 4. But what's also nice in this program is it's identifying these basic skills. So again, it's making things more focused for you to be able, we're checking all these things, being really much more specific, as in what components of balance have they met or still need to work on. So again, it's just it's a nice foundation. The other is, and this is one of those things that I love this component, not only for the students to understand we worked on this skill and this is what we worked on to give an award, but this is also a great way that parents understand what you are teaching in physical education. And that is, I mean, I'm a veteran here, many, many years. I find that is my biggest challenge of getting parents on board to understand what physical education is and its purpose. So every opportunity to advocate for that makes it a big difference, because this now, for every concept, they have a letter that you can send to them, just via internet, but explaining to, this is why we're working on balance. And I just love that. So it's all done for you, but it really is a huge step in advocating. What ways do you communicate with your parents now?
It hasn't been in the past that we've really had a lot of communication. It would be like an individual email if I see something concerning. I'm trying this year to be present at teacher in services with the parents, but I haven't had a lot of connection with them.
Can you see how this would have be so awesome?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as well as you can just email it to them. Hey, this month we're doing a whole bunch of balance activities and why it's so important. And here are some activities. It's like it's done for you.
Mhm.
It's like we're just elevating your program and communication. Now, the other thing that actually Melinda, when she created this program, she just had the guidebooks that are included. But what they did is the teacher said, can we have task cards? And so what she did, all of the activities that are in the book, she put them on task cards and she color coded them so you know what you're working on, and it for you and I idea. So this stuff is on the top of our head, but here in California, I don't know if it's very common in Florida, but here in California, there are many, many schools that have classroom teachers that are providing the mandated physical education minutes, and they have zero background in teaching. So all they do is run and kickball and dodgeball. Again, I've been around. That's all they do. So this just made it easy. So the task cards are there. And then there's also, I don't know if you do stations, but this is great for the littles, giving them ideas and activities to do for doing stations. Do you do stations?
Sometimes, but not every week.
Well, that's okay. It doesn't have to be every week. It's just one of those great ways of teaching. So like with your kids, you could even use like these task cards, like for your fourth, fifth, and sixth, giving them ideas of what they're going to be doing at that station. But we have activity cards. So this is why I love this program, because as you're very familiar, you now have a gym, but I teach 98% of my lessons on a blacktop. So this program gives you the stencils to create, like I always look at a playground, that's not just for recess, that's my classroom. So having all these stencils painted, these are stations. So they're working on their jumping and skipping and all of these markings, like and activities, it's already painted. It minimizes equipment that I'm hauling out there. And what's amazing, kids literally on their own will go jump on these spots or walk on the balance line. They do it. So for me, I was able at 4 different schools, I was able to design the blacktop for my teaching. It technically was for recess, but actually that's my classroom. So that's why I love, love, love the program. The other is part of the program has these grids, number grids and letter grids. And this is where tapping into the active learning component. And I always encourage schools to put more than one letter grid, more than one number grid, and have classroom teachers come out and they can do jump their sight words, their spelling word list. They can toss a beanbag on numbers and now they're doing math. So they can bring their whole class out and now you're reaching that kinesthetic learner. But also for me, for the number grids for PE, I would challenge kids. Can you balance on one leg 5 seconds? Can you hop on one foot 6 times? Can you toss and catch a beanbag 5 times? I use that grid as an activity station. So that's how I used it. Also part of the program is you get an equipment specifically for physical education. And do you have a good set of equipment already for physical education?
I feel like I do.
Okay.
There's not enough for every student. Like I don't have gym balls for every student. But now I have hula hoops. Yeah.
So in this program, you do get all this equipment. And so my recommendation when you don't have all that equipment for every kid is that's when you definitely put them in stations, because you don't want kids waiting for a turn. They all should have a ball that they're practicing bouncing or kicking.
Right.
They all should do that. I always tell like admin when they look at me, one, I always pull up the PE standards and say, well, I have this standard. I actually need this equipment to teach that standard. That's one strategy. And the other is I just explain like, okay, having one math book for my students, you wouldn't allow that. I mean, I need to have a ball for every student to work on their skill, and rather than waiting for a turn. So those are just a couple strategies that I have thrown out there to get equipment at school sites.
Okay.
So then again, here you have these other markings. You've got your ladders where they can be working on their jumping. It's a great fitness, but you've got your stride jump, your regular jump, your hopping. So again, that's what it looks like, and that's what it's amazing to do. I also, in the research, Dr. Bossemeyer discovered that a playground that is colorful, it not only looks amazing, but kids are more active on a colorful playground. And then for me as a teacher, I always organize my kids, I number them, and I could easily say, okay, numbers 1 through 4, you're at the yellow ladder. 5 through 8, you're at the red ladder. I'm instantly putting them into groups rather than telling them, oh, get in groups of 4. I'm efficiently organizing the class, but utilizing the colors, I can quickly get them onto activities right away. So those are just some of my teaching tips and suggestions that I throw out there and do. Do you what is your scheduling like? What do you see how frequently do you get to see your kids?
They have PE once a week for 40 minutes.
You only see them once a week. Do you
Yes.
have mandated minutes in Florida for physical education?
I think so, but I think the school, because it's a private school, may not be under the same regulations, and I think recess is they're considering as physical education as well.
Yeah, every state is different. In California, we have physical education minutes. That recess does not fall under there. And we actually have 200 mandated minutes every 10 days of school. So if you were in our state, you're doing 80 minutes in 10 days, which legally it would be that the classroom teachers need to provide that additional 120 minutes in physical education that does not include recess. However, there are states, and it could be Florida, I'm not familiar with your state of what your laws are. There are states that have physical activity mandated minutes. And if it's physical activity, then yes, that recess falls under those minutes as well. So I recommend for you to go to your state education page, and that's where you're going to find it.
Okay.
And, I don't want you to cause any waves, but it's just one of those things, because it would be really awesome that if you could see your kiddos more than once a week. And I like my scheduling. And like, this is where these suggestions that I'm offering right now, this really is here in California, but also anything is encourage your teachers to incorporate fitness minutes, and they can do those, of course, brain breaks in the classroom and different activities. I do encourage you to do that. I work with teachers, and I always say my activity minutes in the classroom are between 1 and 3 minutes, so it's not taking away from academics, but it absolutely is getting them up and moving in doing so.
Okay.
What else do I do? I personally only like lessons to go 20 to 30 minutes. So that's just me. So, you've got your 40 minutes, and I would definitely look at your 40 minutes. Don't stress out if they are not moving that entire 40 minutes. You have got time, like when you look at those national standards and you look at taking the time, it's so much more than the activity. Address the standard, give them time for reflection, as in, what did we work on today? What was the skill, like for balance? Or with my littles, we in California, kinder, they need to know the names of the locomotor skills. So I am absolutely demonstrating, like I'll skip and say, what am I doing? Skipping. What am I doing? Sliding. So it's not just doing, but also getting those cognitive standards in there. So it's a lot. I mean, especially for those littles in doing so. Always physical education is best earlier in the day because it's stimulating, getting oxygen to the brain, and then they're more focused for the day. Minimizing standing and maximizing movement. My other teaching tips, so I've already shared with you already, activity stations. When I do relays, I only have a maximum of 4 students in a relay, so they're always moving. They're always moving. And I do relay activities for the length of a song, so they're just practicing or whatever. It's not about winning a race. So that's my standard on that. I just shared with you earlier, making sure they have a piece of equipment, everyone, and then focus on the skills rather than games and competition. By any chance, I mean, do you, another recommendation that definitely helps not only as a teacher, but also it helps students, and it's a great way to promote your program. Do you write down and post the standard that you are teaching for the day?
Right, it's in our lesson plans that are posted online for the students and the parents to see.
Okay, so but when they're outside, do you post them anywhere?
I don't post the standards. I have a poster that says, what are we doing today and why are we doing it?
Okay.
But it's not like word for word like standards.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, what you're doing is awesome. I just want you to identify the standard by the number or whatever it is. You don't have to do it word for word, but
Mhm.
if you actually just add that standard, when your principal comes in, they'll see it. When another teacher comes in, they see it. When if a parent comes in, I'm just saying, so you do what you're doing. I'm just saying add, well, that's standard 2.3 grade level. That's all it is. That's all I'm saying to add. Okay, so that just elevated your poster for, again, it's sort of a subtle way to communicate with everybody else. Okay?
Okay. Mhm.
It's a suggestion, but I just know it just takes it beyond, oh, you're playing games today. Do you see what I'm saying? We have a
Right.
mindset out there of our in general when it comes to PE. I had a principal that insisted on calling me coach. And by all means, if you go by coach, it's not offensive, but I kept on saying I'm not a coach because I literally was not a coach. I go, I am your PE teacher. I'm not coaching any game sport here. But she's, oh, but we call you coach. And I'm like, no, my name is Mrs. Flint and I am your because, and it's one of those things, would they ever go to the math teacher and say, oh, we're going to call you math genius or what? I don't even know what you would call like a, you know what I mean? But this principal just kept on insisting, and I go, you know, maybe if I actually was a coach, I could, okay, but I'm not. So
Right.
that's, it's just those things. Explain those complex activities in the classroom, and this is where it's talking to that classroom teacher. But you now have a gym. It's like, honestly, you know, the more they, oh, a great thing to do, you know, you have your internet, you have things online. You know what you could do is front load. It's called flipping the lesson. Is that you could do send them a short little video on YouTube. This is the activity we're doing tomorrow, or this is the skill, like a 1 or 2 minute video that you could send saying, this is what we're doing this week. And again, you know, so they have an idea. It's just an idea.
That's just to communicate with the teacher, or is the teacher supposed to show that to the kids?
I would say, do you, do you go through the teacher to communicate with your students, or do you do that directly?
I post my lesson plans online, but the teacher doesn't generally know everything that we've done.
What you could do, because I've worked at a private school too. I've done so. What I would on Sunday night, I would always front load. This is old school. We just had messages on a phone. We didn't use the internet way back when, but I would send an email out to parents saying PE this week from K to 2. This is what we're working on, and here's a short little video that I would just like send a block email out for those parents and then break it down. This is what we're focusing on this week or this month.
Okay.
It just again, I will honestly say to they're really getting parents on board, knowing what you do will make is huge in improving your program. Just I already shared with you that you probably, have the Go to Shape America, by all means, and you can get all this information. But also on Shape America, on the website, they do have a link and you can put it in the search where it says State of America, and you can pull up your state and they'll have specific, like, that's where they're also list what is if there's a law on recess. There are states in our country that are mandating recess now. Here in California, we just passed a law that recess cannot be taken away from a kid. So classroom teachers can't use that as a consequence anymore.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely, it is. Again, getting kids more active, it does not affect academic. Here's another little video. It's only in 2 minutes.
Everyone knows that movement is good for your body. Your muscles grow bigger, your lungs breathe deeper, and your heart pumps easier. But what about your brain? Scientists have been studying the effects on movement of the mind for decades to answer this question, and have found that physical activity is just as beneficial for your brain as it is for your body. Regular physical activity helps you learn faster and think clearer. It helps maintain good mental health while reducing risk of mental illness. It enhances, improves, and protects your mind. Now, at first that may sound surprising. Instinctively, we assume brains are best when left at rest. But researchers have proven that this instinct is wrong and uncovered reasons why minds need movement. One key discovery has been that physical activity releases a protein in our brains called BDNF. BDNF has been called miracle grow for the brain because it acts like a fertilizer, helping our brain grow, create new cells, and forge new connections. By increasing levels of BDNF, movement allows our brains to blossom. More and more benefits are discovered each day, like improved memory, enhanced focus, faster learning, heightened creativity, better problem-solving ability, and reduced risk of anxiety, depression, dementia, and cognitive decline. Movement isn't just great for our physical health, it's a necessity for our mental health. And just like our bodies need physical activity to grow stronger, our minds need it too. Brought to you by Participaction.
Okay, so again, another video that I've shared with parents, and often I share this with admin and teachers as well to understand why it's so important to get them up and moving.
Everyone,
because we've got that research. And here in California, do you do the fitnessgram in Florida?
The public schools do. We're currently not doing that in our school. We're doing it's a fitness assessment developed by one of our doctors here in town. It's only 3 sections: cardiovascular, flexibility, and strength.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm not here to say this fitnessgram is the greatest thing in the world, because honestly, most schools do it incorrectly. However, it did give us this data, again, to support the value of physical education and physical activity, is that in the fitnessgram, there are 6 fitness. Now they only do 5, but anyway, very clearly we do it in 5th, 7th, and 9th grade. The students that were in the healthy fitness zone, all 6 areas, every single grade level, they did better academically. So that's just a visual to say the healthier kids, the fitter kids do better academically, and doing that. Getting kids up and moving. John Rady, if you're not familiar with that book, Spark, John Rady wrote this book, and he's the one that really promoted that BDNF, building the brain cells. 10 minutes makes a big difference on your brain. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm having trouble putting everything in that I'd like to include for PE, because there's so much to focus on.
Okay.
And I only see them once a week. So like, how would you structure your PE class to include strength, flexibility, cardiovascular, working on skill development? Like, how would you
Well,
structure?
to be very honest, the fact you're only seeing 1 day a week is really, really hard. And you honestly, I know that, well, I don't know if there's other physical educators out there that have the same mindset as I do, but this is what my feeling is the more impact or that you can have on a child's um on a child's education is really working on the why of doing everything rather than just doing. I hear all the time, well, I only have them once a week, so I need to have them moving the whole time. And I get that, but if they don't understand how to take their heart rate and understand that their heart rate is beating, and that's good, and learning about their target heart rate, learning the names of those locomotor skills, not just doing them, because those are the foundation of doing skills. The more advanced skills like skipping and hopping is part of a layup, so they need to understand and work on those things. So really like tackling that, no, in the 40 minutes they're not going to be moving the entire 40 minutes, but I would come up with the routine lesson, and also realize there's no way that you're going to cover all your PE standards, so just take a deep breath and realize we need to work on the foundation. Like, look at every grade level as, okay, in 3rd grade, I really want to work on developing the skill throwing to a partner that is moving. So or what other like things. So every grade level, there could be a major focus. You're going to be very similar in all of your activities that you're doing each day. That's another thing, is being smart about your time. Don't do a completely different skill base or activity with your 4th graders than what you're doing with 1st graders. Use the same equipment, the same format. Obviously, you're going to make it more challenging in meeting the standards for the other grade level, but you do not have time. Why? Because I know this. I didn't have time to go get a whole new set of equipment. Well, I'm doing this with my 4th graders, but I'm doing this with the 1st graders. No, keep it in line so you can be more organized in your day and planning. And then, like, I would say, looking in the whole school year, that, okay, I'm going to add one new unit or one new activity, and make it realistic, but individually for your lessons, 1 day a week, 40 minutes. I would definitely get them. I'm a strong advocate in getting them moving right away. The moment they enter your group, they should be, or they're, whether it's outside or in your gym, they should be doing a warm up instantly, an instant activity, whether it's just walking around the basketball court or doing a quick tag game. I do tag games that everybody is it, so everybody is moving, and I do a warm up no longer than 3 minutes. After they're moving and doing that 3 minutes, then regroup them. then that's when you put them in their, you know, regroup to say, this is what we're doing today. So now you've got them moving already. They're already focused. They've got their wiggles out. Now we're saying this is what our focus is today. And then also take time to teach them how to do their stations, how to rotate, what to do, that ultimately you can create a lesson that they already know that. It's they already know. It's like, okay, I'm 1 through 5, I'm starting at the red station. 6 through 10, I'm at the blue station. So it's the more that you can teach them the structure and routine, that's going to give you more time to actually teach, and in that 40 minutes. So the minimizing your organization will help you. So getting a routine down, and then I would strongly recommend your last 5 minutes of your lesson is the cool down. Having them, you are talking to them, asking the reflection and what you're doing, and doing so. So you've got, like, also realize it's okay that we're doing various throwing and catching activities for a month because we're working on that skill. And, you know, sometimes, I mean, so I don't know, do you work, what is your, like, I've shared the way I teach. What are you? Are you more game based? Are you more skills based? How are you tackling it right now?
I have them come in and line up on poly spots, and then right now we've only had 2 classes this year. So they start with locomotor movements. So like on the long lines of the court, they'll run. On the short lines, they'll jump or hop or something like that. So that's kind of like a quick activity in the beginning, and then I'll teach like a new concept maybe to them, and then we'll incorporate that concept in a game. That's what we're doing right now, but it's more like a to know you game, or using locomotor skills in the game. But
So
yeah.
So basically though, that I want you to think of, first of all, when I teach, because I will say this, I never do 3 minutes is my max of any activity.
Okay.
And I will change it up a little bit. I will change it up. Well, I do everything for a length of a song. So, okay, the music changes. Okay, you're moving around, you're doing the same thing, but now you're dribbling with your non-dominant hand. Okay, then so they're working on that skill. Now we're doing this. So again, what happens, I mean, again, many, like so many teachers, they do games, which is great, but what happens sometimes, unless you consciously, and if you're doing this, awesome, because I'm just going to say, to do this, you need to stop the game and refocus and say, what are we working on? Or highlight the skill that you are focusing on, as well as ending that they understand. It's like, I want you to think of your game or activity as the vehicle of actually what you are teaching. But when they walk away, when they go into their classroom, if that classroom teacher asks them, what did you do today? Rather than, well, we played this throwing game, it was, well, we learned on stepping with opposition. We learned following through today. We learned all the locomotor skills today. That is going to change the dynamic, and realize there's no way that you are going to get everything done in 40 minutes a week. It's not. So I would look at your grade levels, and in California, we have a framework that on each grade level, we wrote, because I helped write it, we wrote on what is the main focus for kindergartners. We want them, it's independent play, it's learning, it's bounce and catch, it's not dribbling yet. You know, it's really looking at what do we want them to walk away with. I would look at every grade level and use that as your foundation of helping your students like say, okay, this is my big overarching goal for this grade level. So also like in California, the offense and defense isn't even introduced. Those terms aren't even introduced until 4th grade. So K-3 is really just skill development, social skills. Like 1st grade is learning to work with a partner. 2nd grade is working in small groups. And that it's billed that way and looking at that. So so you have your warm up, you have your game. Do you do a cool down? Do you do a reflection? How does your end of your PE lesson go?
Yeah, we have a cool down. So far this year, we've just done like focused breathing. There's something called the Take 5 breathing technique. So they'll do that. And then I ask a couple of questions. So far they've been, did you listen and follow directions? Did you give good effort? And were you kind? And then as we learn more skills, then I can ask questions like, okay, what are the cues for throwing or the cues for catching or something like that?
And I strongly recommend being specific, because that's getting them to think and more critical thinking rather than, yeah, I did good today. It's like, it is like when we give feedback, it's so hard. I mean, I always consciously have to think, okay, what am I saying? Good job. I need to let them know exactly what they did that put it in the category of good job.
Right.
It's one of those things that I am challenged with all the time, remembering that immediate focus. The other thing that you can do, just quick assessment is like I would have a thing called the tap out chart, and it was a 2 high five that you nailed today, you got it, a high five, and then a thumbs up, and then what was my third one? But basically, based on how did you feel you did today? Did you get the concept? Were you able to do the activity or whatever it was? And it was a tap out card that I had as they exited the room. And so that is something, but also with you right now, like having them sit and talk, high five, a thumbs up, or maybe you're not so much, like going like I do my hands on both sides, still need to work on it, sort of concept, sort of thing. So I don't know. I hope I helped you a little bit. I hope I helped you a little bit.
Yeah, I think I got some good things from this webinar. I still struggle with assessment and then communicating that with the parents.
Well, okay, so that's another thing. So are you giving them letter grades, assessment? What are you doing?
Basically, they're getting a number grade out of 100, and it's subjective based on their participation. So basically, it's a participation grade. I have a chart where I'm trying now to say, yes, they've met this skill, or no, they haven't, but I'm having trouble documenting that for every
That's
child.
why, like, going back to what this webinar was showing, this is why this is so awesome for you. It would be a foundation and a lot of stuff. It's like having that checkoff sheet, having, let's see, my lesson plan format. So, but you have this chart. It's already done for all these different skills. That's what's nice, that it's all done for you. And then the other is communicating with parents of what you are doing and what your objectives is. I'm going to also strongly recommend right now what you're doing, you need to have a very specific rubric of what does it mean that they're participating. Are they wearing, it's like I did a 3-point scale that they were participating, they didn't cause any issues, they got 3 points. If they didn't show up in appropriate shoes, they lost a point. And I stand by that is being prepared for class. You need to make sure, okay, on Wednesday they have PE. Another thing that I did with parents and put it on the website was pictures of appropriate shoes and pictures of inappropriate shoes. That drastically minimized kids wearing inappropriate shoes. I also had kids that wore other shoes, but like, oh, Mrs. Flint, I got to go change my shoes. They brought their tennis shoes because I had established you got to have a tennis shoe in order to participate to be safe. But that took a little bit of time, but it was also communicating to parents. And also the pictures made a huge, huge difference that I did with them. But do you send a parent letter home as in this is what I am looking at and this is how they're getting their grade? Have you done that?
For 6th grade, they have a syllabus that goes home to the parents that has to be signed and returned, and it has a breakdown of their grade. But a majority of the grade is participation. And some of it is being prepared, like dressing out and bringing their water and wearing the right shoes.
Right. Okay,
So.
I'm going to strongly, that needs to go to every single grade level.
Okay.
In it, okay, not just 6th grade. The other is what I added to my parent letter is I specifically asked about any health concerns. And you're at a small school and you may have a wonderful nurse or someone that's going to give you all that information, but I am asking very specific things because I teach with balloons. Are you allergic to latex? I teach outside. Are you allergic to bees? Are you allergic to grass? Do you have asthma? And if you do have asthma, do you have an inhaler at school? Because I'm communicating, we're outside. This is where I'm, what is a safe environment, as well as we are running. And if your child does have asthma, we do need to have an inhaler at school to be safe. I did this parent letter and I actually had a student that we had to call 911. He had an asthma attack. I did do this letter. The parent admittedly said she didn't read the letter and just signed it. But I had on that letter, and this child had asthma. She goes, well, yeah, because the previous PE teacher before me only did free play. They never did a normal physical education. And so she just assumed, what's the big deal? And the child ended up being okay, but I'm like, okay, I did everything to get information. I told you we're going to run. If she has asthma, we need to have an inhaler at school. So it's those things do need to be included and communicated to those parents.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I'm just also going to invite you. So I absolutely do think this would be an awesome program for you for your school, giving you that foundation, because that's what it is. It's a foundation to help you guide you through all the different activities that you're going to do. And but I do additional webinars for free. I'm actually doing recess. I'm doing peaceful playgrounds this afternoon at 3:30, but once a month, I do a special webinar. I do Calm the Chaos class management. Coming up, I'm doing a doable PE. A lot of things that I shared with you today is in that webinar, but I also do cross curricular. I did that at the national conference. That was a big one. And then I am an APE teacher, but I'm also a parent that frankly sued a district. So I understand being in an IEP. I share that. And then I teach with music 100%. So if you're interested in those free webinars, at your time, it would be actually 7 o'clock at night, because I do it at 4 o'clock once a month on Wednesday. You can scroll down and see if one of those topics interests you. So I do hope I've helped you, Elena. And I would say if you are interested in the program, pass it off to your admin, to your parents. I think it honestly would be really helpful to you to really elevate your program, giving you the foundation, the parent letter already done, the assessment charts already done, just also a focus of what you are going to be teaching, which would be appropriate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do you have
Yes.
some, maybe like if I don't need the equipment or I don't need the stencils because we don't have a blacktop, we just have a field. Like, do you have piecemealing?
What I'm gonna strongly recommend is that I do believe the company does have different options available. But I'm not in the office, so I'm not behind, but I do know that they have different options. You could explain what you need and what you would like, and I'm sure that they'll work with you.
Okay.
So just call, you could just email, it's actually officestaff@peacefulplaygrounds.com.
Okay.
And you can explain you attended the webinar and what are some options of, and explain if there's anything. So yeah, so all the address is officestaff@peacefulplaygrounds.com.
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
thank you for letting me talk. I hope I helped you.
Yes, ma'am. A lot to think about. So thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. And you can touch base with me anytime. You are welcome to email me. I also have a new TikTok station that I'm doing tons of tips. It's at Carrie Brown Flint. And I'm doing actually 3 videos a day giving suggestions and ideas.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the time and letting me share.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.